Welcome to the Parley, a conference between opposing sides in a dispute. The premier debate arena. Here is how things work.
Bandits in the chat, we back. Good subject right now. What current NBA player would carry a 16 seed in the NCAA championship to a championship? We got Zeezy and Marz debating that. Zeezy, lead us off, player.
So for me, I immediately thought of Anthony Davis, and the main reason for that is because I had to think of a player that had at least some sort of college experience. And with Anthony Davis, he only had one lone year at Kentucky, but what he did in that year was just insane for me. When you look at that Kentucky team, the previous year, going into the season, they were ranked out of the top 10, or they were ranked number 8 actually, and then throughout the remaining portions of the year, they were never able to make it into the top 5, right, as a team overall. And then when you look at that year, Anthony Davis gets there, a year in which he was SEC Player of the Year, SEC Defensive Player of the Year, All Consensus First Team, National Player of the Year, all of these awards in a one-year time span in which he was had the 5th highest shot attempts per game on that Kentucky team, and yet he still led the team in scoring with 14 a game on 8 shots, but 63%. Crazy work. So for me, when I think about that, I got to think about a guy that I know for a fact has that experience. And when you think about 16 scenes as a whole, I don't know, I went UMBC, North Dakota State, you can kind of Longwood, you can go all over the place, but each one of those teams you could say that needs a player like an Anthony Davis, a player that can deflect shots and get his own shots as well at this stage in his career compared to college, because right now he's more polished right now than he was 12 years ago. So for me, it was definitely going to be Anthony Davis because you have that mix of great, phenomenal, all-world defender and...
All right.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
That was very well said, very well spoken. But I'm going with Nikola Jokic, by many the best player in the world. The reason I went with him is not just because he is, in my opinion, probably the best player in the world. The difference is in the game style. The fact that the lane isn't as wide in NCAA as it is in the NBA. Jokic already has some of the best touch we've ever seen, so imagine him being able to park closer to the rim, making him even more effective, especially when he's not going up against NBA bigs. He's going up against college bigs who, let's be honest, most of them are focused on geometry instead of actually playing basketball. They're just there for their degree, so Jokic is going to kill them, respectfully. Then also defensively, just the rules being different, not having to extend as far. We know his biggest weakness is defending in space and all of those things. He's able to stay closer to the basket, so defensively his deficiencies aren't really going to be as prominent as they are in the NBA. And also in the NBA, I mean, it's not the same thing, but him being able to lead a team with no all-stars, none of that higher echelon talent really, to an NBA championship, I think that's a similar mold of what a 16 seed in the NCAA tournament would be. It's like, there's no one really with NBA aspirations. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that Kentucky team with Anthony Davis had some NBA talent there. So I think when you're talking about a 16 seed, that's what you need. No NBA talent, but someone who's really that good, who can really propel them forward. I mean, it goes without saying Jokic makes his teammates better, gets them easy looks. You can't just rely on AD to score, whereas Jokic can get other guys involved and himself, get the easier shots in basketball. Defensively, he's not going to be a problem. Like, it just all goes towards, at the end of the day, I got the best player in the country by a wide margin, who makes everyone around him better, so I'm a rock with that guy, and I think he can get it done for me.
Yeah, for me, I mean, you make a great point. You can actually throw a lot of guys in this discussion, but for me with Anthony Davis, what makes him kind of a standalone is that when you look at his year alone, he had the most blocks ever recorded by a freshman in NCAA history, along with being in the NCAA tournament where he had 29 blocks total, which was just insane for his time. And when you think about the defensive impact that he would bring to a 16 seed, I mean, you got to think, you can go, like I said, you can go any 16 or 15 seed that you want in the last 4 years, and they would need an Anthony Davis rounding out the big man spot. You look at teams like North Dakota State, UMBC, they had guys that were as tall as 6'9", but with Anthony Davis, you have that 7-footer who not only can create his own shot at this stage in his career, but his playmaking isn't as bad, especially in a college setting for a team like you saw, like you said, Kentucky had NBA prospects on it. Anthony Davis was still the leading scorer with the fifth usage rate on the team in terms of ranking. So when I look at that and I say if he's on a 16 seed, seeing what he did in the NBA this year, averaging instead of 8 attempts a game in college, 17 attempts a game last season alone and shooting 55% from the field. You put that in college terms, I mean, he's gonna eat regardless. He had phenomenal touch around the rim at that time as well. Didn't have a consistent jump shot, but he could for sure knock down hook shots and put the ball in the basket on anybody's head. So if you have a reliable point guard who can just throw the ball up to him, you have that action as well that can work. And also I think in fast break transition, he would be the much better option than a slower Nikola Jokic.
Relying on a reliable point guard in the 16 seed, I don't know, because that's what my concern is. I'm assuming these guys just aren't that good, and I think who can elevate not that good talent better than anyone? Probably Nikola Jokic. He doesn't need a point guard because he can be the point guard, but then also he can be that low post presence. He can also play in the middle of the floor. There's nowhere you really can't use him, and especially in college where schemes and sets are very prominent. Jokic can play within that. I mean, even the Nuggets, they run some sort of flex offense, so he's used to like that type of movement, those back screens, all of those things, so he can play with and without the basketball and be just as effective, just as dominant as someone who needs the basketball. Anthony Davis might be a solid decision maker, solid passer. There was actually a stretch where he played a bit of like that hubs rolling offense and Darvin Ham was using him that way. He looks pretty good, but he didn't look like Nikola Jokic, and no one really does. So you have someone that unique. I mean, you spoke about AD being a 7-footer, Jokic like 6'11", 7 feet himself. He's going to be bigger than everyone. He's going to be stronger than everyone because he's already stronger than everyone in the league. So against college 18, 19-year-olds, he's going to be stronger than them. The best post scorer in the NBA, probably one of the best post scorers in the world. The touch, like I've already alluded to, great rebounder. He might not run the floor in transition, but if his teammates are on the floor, he can throw outlets. So that transition offense is still going to be there. He's one of the best rebounders in the NBA. There's nothing he really doesn't do that doesn't translate to the college game. And the things he doesn't do in the NBA aren't as necessary in the college game based on how you can run zones, based on the defensive 3 seconds, all of those things. Just it makes Jokic's game more effective. Like you look at what he did in the Olympics, which is not the same thing as college, but similar rules and similar style of play, similar game length. He was the best player in the Olympics. He averaged damn near a triple-double. He got Serbia to the bronze medal. Like, you a hater.
I know. Come on. I got to keep it going from last night. Cut.
Yeah, keep hating, I guess.
Dude, you made a lot of good points there, but for me, one thing that I look at for sure, I mean, you brought up the Olympics, which, like you said, you can't really compare it too much to college, but with Anthony Davis and him having one season of play, in his first game, he gave you like 25, 10, and 5, shooting it at about 10 for 12 from the field. So he was a player that did not need to take 17 shots a game to be effective and efficient. He was a guy that can get you, 25. Matter of fact, they went 38-2, 16-0 in conference play. Anthony Davis had a double-double in 20 of those 40 games. So we talk about the impact that he had for that team, and then you put that on a 16 seed where you say he's going to get the ball more, he's going to be the best defender on the team more than likely. And to your point about the point guard thing, I mean, yeah, how many times have we seen a Cinderella story come from a team that was a 15 seed or a 16 seed with one good player? It could be a guard, it could be a point guard. You're saying that you're adding current Anthony Davis to any of those rosters with anybody, and he wouldn't be effective, or he wouldn't be that second option punch that could really affect that team and help that Cinderella run? For sure. Like I said before, you could put a lot of players in this discussion. Nikola Jokic, I mean, that's the safest answer for me. Best player in the world, obviously. Anthony, does he even sniff Anthony Davis's defense? No, brother, no.
Yeah, but I mean, I think what needs to be acknowledged, and none of us have brought it up, NCAA play is a single game elimination.
Right.
And anyone remembers Anthony Davis in the playoffs, what's been the biggest story? Inconsistency. We go back to the Lakers when they had a playoff run in 2023. It was like, AD's been great on defense, but one game he's giving me 27, the next game he's giving me 11, then it's 29, then it's 14. We can't afford inconsistency when it's single game eliminations. We can't afford to drop a game because AD just doesn't have it that night on offense, whereas Jokic, every single night he's going to give you probably the best offense anyone could give you anywhere. You know that on a game-to-game basis, single game elimination, we have the guy who can carry us to the promised land, which is why I'm surprised you went with Anthony Davis. I think his teammate was probably a better option. Because who are you going to trust more in a single game elimination, LeBron James or Anthony Davis? I think you remember the wrong guy on the Lakers, if I'm being honest.
Look, you're right about...
He's telling you who to pick. Fight back, Zeezy.
Look,
Don't let him black your eye
He's
like
right
that.
about that. He's right about that. I was going to pick LeBron first, and then I was like, you know what? Let me go for the guy that actually had college experience. And you talk about the playoffs, I get you. But last year in the playoffs, the one thing that Anthony Davis...
The 5-game sample?
Yes, in the 5-game sample size. Did Anthony Davis play inconsistently in those 5 games? games, or was it LeBron and AD pulling it together?
Was Anthony Davis hiding from the ball in the fourth quarters when the game was close?
Who was hitting those clutch shots? Was it Jamal Murray or Nikola Jokic? Y'all know? I know it was Jamal. But anyway, back to my point.
When you look at
When you look at Anthony Davis in that 5-game sample size, the only player on the Lakers who anybody in the media or fans were giving that inconsistency argument for was D'Angelo Russell. Why? Because
he was consistently trash.
Exactly. Yeah. Consistently trash. Not Anthony Davis or LeBron. If you look at that 5-game sample size and you tell me that you're going to blame Anthony Davis or even a 39-year-old LeBron for that, you out your damn mind.
And who was the best player in that series, may I ask?
Nikola Jokic, you can say that. Where was Nikola Jokic's consistency in that 7-game series against the Minnesota Timberwolves?
Oh, against an elite defense that you would never see in the NCAA play.
That elite defense that got cooked by Luka and Kyrie? Crazy work.
Yeah, different personnel. I mean, it's all different. But last I remember, the Lakers didn't get to that point to even play against the Minnesota Timberwolves because they lost to Nikola Jokic.
Interesting. So any other matchup in the playoffs for the Lakers you think that they're not winning?
Tell me a Rudy Gobert in college basketball.
Okay, fair point. Kareem at one point was like that.
Oh, so we're going back to 1968.
Anthony Davis at one point was like that.
Where's Chilltown? We got his era. Like, what we doing?
Did Rudy Gobert average 5 blocks a game in college, or was it Anthony Davis?
Rudy Gobert was playing professionally overseas. So that's the standard.
But we're not talking about professionally
overseas. Same as Jokic.
We're talking about college. We're talking about college.
Yeah, but we're going to bring up 5 blocks a game. Rudy Gobert had the blocks record in professional basketball.
That's cute as shit. We're not talking about the Olympics, the Euro
That's the standard of what Rudy Gobert was.
So why would you bring up Rudy Gobert?
Because that's what the Timberwolves had. So if you're going to hold against Jokic that he didn't do it against the Timberwolves, who had Rudy Gobert, and you're going to be like,
even though Karl-Anthony Towns was the one that was actually giving Jokic the work, right?
Oh, so we're just going to ignore the fact. So we don't understand help defense anymore. We're ignoring defensive principles.
You stuck on that Rudy Gobert fadeaway, ain't it, Marz?
No, we're ignoring defensive principles now. We're going to act like it's just one-on-one.
Defensive principles.
If we were going on a one-on-one game, I know Jokic was torching.
Defensive principles, and we're debating Anthony Davis and Nikola Jokic is crazy work.
Finish, I say. Hey, that was damn good hoops right there, yo. That was damn good debating right there.
The Parley. Powered by passion. Like, subscribe, share.